Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Well, we are back with our weekly crypto news with Michael, head of all our research, and wow, everything's crashing. Some of that stuff I speculated, even 12 months ago, that I had a feeling about Epstein files being related to Bitcoin and all that, possibly causing a bit of a panic. That's all played out. So I want to talk about that and have a bit of a rant today. But how are you seeing things, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. I hope everyone's hanging in there and everyone's okay. I don't know how many times you get to say "I told you so" over this last 6 months, but far out.
Yeah.
Yeah, what can you say?
Well, I think you've got an article you want to bring up, but while you're doing that, I guess just in general, I think that a lot of that fear is overblown at the moment about, Epstein being Satoshi and some of the more radical articles that are floating around and causing the panic. What I do think and what I've been talking about is that there's absolutely been an effort to corrupt Bitcoin and centralize Bitcoin by BlackRock and by these intelligence agencies, and even some of the stuff Roger Ver spoke about back in 2017 with the hard fork and the cabal, and again, trying to divide and conquer like they do in all other aspects of our life. So no, I don't think that it's completely over. And yeah, Epstein may have funded even some of the devs early on, and then Adam Back's come out and said, well, actually, they divested that investment that they got from him, which was reasonably small. But I think the important takeaway message is that all these efforts to constantly corrupt Bitcoin and infiltrate Bitcoin, control Bitcoin, shows that it wasn't theirs and they weren't in control from the start, and they're still not completely in control. If you've got your own Bitcoin in self custody, and no matter where you are in the world, I can send you some crypto, and that is still the best, most decentralized network of anything we've really got globally. And so, yeah, the battle's on, and I think the pendulum's going to swing back, and all that stuff I really want to see Bitcoin DeFi, 3 years ago, hasn't played out. But I think it's going to start playing out once people realize we need to start fighting for decentralized scaling and privacy and better wallets and all this type of stuff. So that's my bit of a rant about all that and the panic we're seeing, which I think is overdone. And I think we're pretty close to a bottom now.
It is wild. You can see my screen here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think I've ever seen a five on extreme fear before. Like the actual vibes are, and we obviously track a lot of social media metrics. Like I'm doing interviews and live streams a couple of times a week, and like we got a quite a big social media following over in Asia, and like I don't think I've seen vibes this bad in crypto before. Like it's very doomsdayer. Um, and I think the attention has been distracted as well. People have just giving up. I watched Benjamin Cowan the other day. I don't know what your thoughts are on him, but like he had a really long, like hour and a half live stream that I watched that just pretty much showed that everything is down against Bitcoin. There's no since 2021 there is no token. I mean, you probably can find some obscure like 200K market cap type sort of meme coin, but like everything of note that has any form of liquidity has just bled against Bitcoin for the last period of time, and that nobody has done better in altcoins than what they have in Bitcoin. And so obviously traders who are trading the volatility of altcoins can do quite well, but just as a long-term hold, everything's bled to Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I
Pretty
think that's
sobering.
another divide and conquer. I've spoken about how I don't think alts are going to ever have a true alt season again. Now it's so saturated and all that meme coin speculation and the casino, and now you've got algorithms and bots and the exchanges just wipe out the traders and most of retail. Like all these things I've spoken about is just playing into their hands to centralize control of things. And this is where I think people are kind of over it, and we're feeling that and seeing that sentiment. But this is where the pendulum's going to swing back, I think, towards just to focus on building out a decentralized internet and money and the initial ethos.
I've got a bit of a contrarian take, which I'm going to get to a little bit about just blockchain in general, but we'll get back to that in a minute. But let's just put a bow on this Epstein FUD. This is how ironic that just as all these files drop, all of a sudden Epstein is Satoshi. Like you have to be a moron to start to actually like buy into this type sort of stuff and to see what's going on. But like the fact that I've seen not one but like several of these articles all over the internet, talking about, Epstein and his connections and how he's, funding this person and funding that person, early in stage investor in Coinbase and blah, blah, blah. And now he's Satoshi. It's exactly right. You can see just the powers that be just really want to just clamp down. And it's that classic example. It's like first they ignore you, then they mock you, and then, they fight you and then you win or whatever it is. Like we're just going through these cycles. And, the fight was lost with the last US administration. The fact that, you've got a US president whose, family is creating tokens and making money off of this stuff. And so now it's just like, well, how do we win with them? And by completely absorbing it. And there's all sorts of conversations we can have about the Bitcoin IPO moment, and a lot of the OGs have sort of cycled out now, but I don't know.
I think the other email that was the real doozy I saw was Peter Thiel, who we know is not our friend of Palantir and close ties to Israel, Mossad and all that, chatting with Epstein about how we create anti-Bitcoin pressure. And so again, I just think that these people saw this as a threat, a decentralized financial system.
Not only that, but how do they crash the market so that they can go buy cheap assets? Like that was the other part of that conversation. Like who are these people? Like, and it's literally like some sort of like supervillain arc that you see from people going on. It's like they have some sort of childhood trauma from something, and it means that they just want to take over the world. Like,
yeah,
it's mental. I'm going to come back to the blockchain. So I've got a little bit of an arc here, which I want to go down, and I'm going to come back to blockchain usage. We've been talking about this now for a little bit, how we're going to try and make these a little bit different, like rather than just like covering off low cap tokens and what might be sort of moonshots. We want to start covering off like how to actually use this technology and how it's actually going to play into the hands of our lives.
Yeah.
So I want to give a little bit of a teaser to this today. I don't know if you were across OpenClaw this week. Did you see this?
Is this like to do with the Molt bots and all this saga?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I did see the Molt bots, and I've got just one other AI thing I want to talk about. But what's the OpenClaw?
So OpenClaw is where is Moltbot. They kept on changing their name. So it started out as OpenClaw, and then they changed to Moltbot, and now they changed to OpenClaw again. They've changed their name.
Okay.
But this is the technology of these AI agents that people could spin up on their computers at home. And effectively, I'll cut the story, long story short, you can find massive podcasts on it, and most people have probably heard. But they've created their own social media network. So they've got their own social media platform where they're chatting to each other effectively.
Yes.
And whether or not this is real or not, who knows? But the crazy thing that happened is that they actually spun up their own token. And so someone gave them a wallet and seeded it, and they spun up their own token during the week. And this thing, now it's at a 10 million FDV, but this thing got up to something for $80 million. And we're talking like in a couple of days here. And you look at like who's listing this thing. Look at all the exchanges. Just jump on this. All the centralized exchanges. Anywhere there's volume, anywhere there's fees to generate, they don't care what it is. This is an AI token, so they can AI pay each other. They jumped on it, all the exchanges. And obviously, same thing like with every meme coin. But I just think it's interesting that it feeds into like this conversation which Vitalik started during the week about the nature of what L2s look like. So this was a very interesting post where he effectively said that the roll-up centric roadmap of Ethereum is complete and we need to pivot now. And then all of the L2 founders sort of freaked out and said, well, hang on, is he about to become adversarial to the layer 2 scheme? But he clarified it throughout the week to say about the conversation that he's had, saying that he thinks that layer 2s now need to start to diversify and actually do unique things like novel technology. They can still be secured by Ethereum, but they want to have novel technology. And one of them was AI block space, and that the fact that AI can actually still be run on top of Ethereum, and that way there is some sort of decentralization, and it's not this dystopian type sort of thing where these supervillains that we've talked about have control of it, but it's actually run on a decentralized open source type sort of environment. And that there could be, a world where governments sort of run their sort of stuff on top of Ethereum, and AI data storage is all run on top of Ethereum. So this is shaping everything. And I don't think that blockchain and AI can be separated here. They're going to be entwined eternally. And this is why we really want to be using the tools that can actually still promote freedom, not like just give over control to these like closed loop psychopaths that just want to control your life.
Yeah, well, I think ideally we want blockchain and some sort of decentralization entwined with AI, because the opposite scenario is one company, one government, all this new world order control it, and it's not recorded on a ledger that can't be altered or anything. It's just completely under their control, and they can rewrite history. But have you got some more AI stuff you want to share before I go on a bit more of an AI rant?
No, go for it.
Oh, cool. So, the other thing that one of the guys posted in the group, I think it was Jason, was rentahuman.ai.
Yeah, I saw that.
So AI bots are now paying humans to complete tasks that they can't do in the physical real world. Now, if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what does. But the other thing that's scary about all this is how, in a world with a cost of living crisis, people are willing to sell their soul and do whatever for money. So, just like the kind of early days of crypto and other shitcoins and stuff start off as kind of fun, a few experiments, and then we end up with the complete debauchery of people threatening to do the wildest things to get their meme coin to spike a bit to make some money. What happens when AI bots start offering $1,000 to go do something that's crossing your ethics line and selling your soul or dark or whatever? So, man, where this is all heading really scares me. And the more you look into AI, it's great for research and all that, don't get me wrong, but the way it's all heading, and if it's replacing humans, that just doesn't end well.
I think, like, I've got kids, you've got kids. I think it's to the point now where you almost have to teach the rising generation that nothing online is real. Like, nothing is real. Unless you've had that conversation, unless you've met that person in real life, nothing is real. And I'm pretty sure most Twitter arguments now, it's just bots. You're not actually arguing against real people. All political discussions that are happening online, it's not real people. And this is why, hopefully with blockchain, we can have some sort of like proof of humanity type sort of setup as well, where it's a real person and you're not just being like bot farm manipulated to be able to think a certain way and react a certain way. And the outrage that's happening. One of the things which we will probably need to start focusing on is things like this, where you can start removing yourself from the dark web and you can actually go through. Now, ironically, I see this banner here that it's not available in Australia, which is hugely interesting. Like, why is this not allowed? So you can go and remove yourself from the internet and say, don't have me on this database. I don't want to be on this like dark web website. Remove me from everywhere I can. And there's heaps of cool blockchain versions of this, which we're going to start writing reports on now about how you can actually mask yourself online. And I think that the real use case that we want to see of blockchain is something like, the RWA space. Like, I think when we can actually use and go on chain for transparency, and it's not just banks like manipulating things, like the real world market and the real world asset market is where we actually get tokenized value, where value can be shared amongst people and it's not just hoarded by like institutions. I personally feel like this is still a bullish use case of blockchain, where it can't just be like this fake money, fake debt, death spiral, but it's actually, we got real world assets that can be used.
Yeah, again, as long as it's decentralized in some way, real world assets, and it's not just BlackRock going, hey, we're going to put everything on a blockchain and still control everything. A lot of people are looking at the moment, where's the best place to park your money with how crazy everything's going, and being able to go to like a different geography that's up and coming and buy a house to rent out Airbnb with a group of friends. If that's all done in a couple of clicks of a button on a transparent blockchain, sure, that's fine. But not the BlackRock route.
Yep. I don't know if you saw this one, but this is obviously pretty interesting. Now we've got, so the timeline is Elon buys Twitter, changes it to X, launches XAI, brings out Grok, XAI and Twitter or X merged to be one company, and now SpaceX has merged with XAI. So this is now the largest private company in the world, and I think the timeline of this is now that X is the distribution method, Grok is going to be the AI which is fed into that, and SpaceX is going to launch rockets into space to be able to create space-based data centers.
And Elon put out a thing yesterday saying we've got 30 to 36 months before everything collapses or something like that. And isn't that funny how that aligns with Agenda 2030? Like, it's just wild.
What is happening here? Like, is this a simulation of some sorts? Is we getting trolled here? Is this like some sort of movie?
Oh, I think they're absolutely trolling us into this new world order. Like, if you check out of it, nothing's changed if you actually spend some time in nature and touch some grass. But yeah, it is just things are heading in a bizarre direction quickly, right? And that's why you kind of got to keep your wits about you a little bit. And like I said, just get out in nature and don't worry about half this stuff they're trying to push.
The last one, I guess I just want to cover off here. Like, this is where stuff like this. Now, I don't know. This is not an endorsement of this project or anything like that. But I just want to show an example here about the world that I want to live in and the blockchain future that I'm looking towards. This is where like the decentralization of blockchain and the real world assets, I think, is a positive thing. Again, I know nothing about this particular project, but this is like the tokenization of the energy grid, where like you could actually own your own energy, be able to sell it to the grid, peer-to-peer type sort of exchanges. Everything gets tokenized and value actually accrues to an actual token with a real-world use case. I think this is the only way that blockchain tokens actually have a future. If it's just the speculative, like, buy my token because its number's going to go up in speculator, I think those days are done. I think it's Bitcoin or bust mostly. If there is a real world value and a real world business that's associated with something now, this is the stuff that interests me more. Well, I got solar panels on my roof. If I could actually tokenize that energy that I'm creating and share it in a peer-to-peer nature, I'm interested. So this is stuff that I want to look into.
Yeah, well, this is like what Power Ledger were trying to do, right? And then you end up kind of having issues with the infrastructure and the grid, and they're not going to let you use it to do that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, the concept itself absolutely is a great idea.
Well, last one, I guess today is the conversations now are going to be really interesting about where blockchain goes, because right now we've got like Bitcoin takes up, more than 50% of the market. I think if I jump back over to here, we can see that Bitcoin right now sits at dominance is what? 58.2%, Ethereum another 10%. If you throw in stable coins like being USDT and USDC here, we're at 90%. And then some of these other big boys in the top 10, we're literally like 90 to 95% of this whole market now is just like consolidated in like the Mag 7 of blockchain. And the dilution that is happening in tokens is incredible. I saw a stat this week that there's more tokens being generated every single day now than there was between 2017 and 2021, that whole period. Now there's more tokens that get generated per day. So the dilution is just astronomical. So now I think we're in the era of how can we use blockchain tools to actually help us? Where can you store your assets? Where can you store your wealth? And what can you do with that wealth? Is it because I love Martin's updates every month, and that's one of the first videos that I always watch on your channel, is just to see what's going on, because obviously we all store a lot of our wealth inside real estate, but what's going on there? Is that going to be a bubble? Like, what's going on with metals now? Is that overbought? Like, and that's just going to correct? What's the stock market going to do at all-time highs? So we really do want to watch and how we can use technology and these tools to still maintain freedom, and where can we actually store our wealth, and where's the opportunity before trading bots just take away all advantage in the market.
Absolutely. And as you say, that's going to be a big focus of all our research as we update the platform and head in that direction for all these tools and privacy, your best way to live your life and get outside the system. And we want that to be a focus, and if altcoin opportunities arise, and that call I did on silver, and then we absolutely nailed the top on that as well. So, we're still going to talk about where to make money and when those opportunities come along. But I think for a lot of people understand why this other stuff is so important, and why I've been changing direction more and more so the past couple of years with all the content, because it all ties into one.
Yep. So watch this space. We've got heaps of more research now. We're going to retarget the energy, I think, a little bit from our research team, not just looking for low cap gems that are looking to rip, but actually what has real world use case, what's actually decentralized, what's a freedom tool, and how does it actually keep us free?
Awesome. Thanks, mate. We'll chat again next week, and hope you guys have enjoyed that one. Head over to Nuggets News. We can sign up for the free newsletter, all our research or our high net worth VIP services, and we'll chat to you again soon, guys. Cheers.